Rocky, this is Eric.
Victorian England had a huge influence on the fashions and styles that were happening in Highland dressing in Scotland.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story.
Yo.
You're just excited because the Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. All right, today, special treat. Good friend David Calvin got us, David Calvin, I wrote it on the back of the bottle. David Calvin got us Journeyman Distillery's handmade organic Silver Cross whiskey.
Gee, why do they call it Silver Cross, Rocky?
I don't know, Eric.
We'll find out when we get the tasting notes from Mr. Mac. Oh, yeah, and Mr. Mac is back with us as our MC.
MC for the day.
It's been a long time since we rock and roll with Mac.
Yes. He wanted to rock and roll all night and party every day. It was crazy.
In World War I.
Yeah. Mac was at a World War I event or World War II event
World War
a couple months ago.
1915.
Yep.
What were you in? You haven't been on the show since October, so
Something like that.
you were at another event in November, right?
Yes, that was the 1917 event.
So it's been World War I all year.
It's been a weird
been a
backwards
nasty-
travel.
Wow.
He's
Times
been
haven't gotten any better.
He's been a bit of a journeyman during this time. Yes, bringing it back around to the whiskey. Okay. She needs a little more. All right, Mac, come on over here.
Hey.
And come collect your bottle of whiskey. Or bottle. Your
He
glass
gets
of
the
whiskey.
whole bottle?
Yes.
Wow.
And
that's a perk.
While you are here, Mac, why don't you tell us what tartan do you have on today, Mac?
I've got the Stuart Hunting tweed.
With no sporin. How dare you, sir?
It's
What
somewhere.
the heck? We have to cut this out.
Exactly.
Adam,
He
cut
doesn't
this out.
exist.
We'll just
Yeah.
Photoshop one in.
There you go. There you go.
Very good. All right. You may go. You may go now, sir.
You may go.
You may go now.
It's a good day, sir.
What do you have on there?
Scott Red Weathered.
Scott Red Weather.
Has nothing
Very
to do with the
nice.
Kansas City Chiefs.
No. Fair. I have on the American Dream tartan. You see a little bit of it right there? Yes.
Yep.
The American Dream tartan. One of my personal faves. Love it. All right. Here we go. For you,
Thank you.
for me, and for Mac. All right. Who you have the nosing and tasting,
The
Yeah, all the
nosing,
noses
nosing
over there.
nose
the
stuff.
cheat sheet?
All right, so color, deep copper.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure, why not?
All right,
What
so
about deep?
for the nose, it's a fruity aromas, warm baking spices, and honey.
That smells spicy.
Warm baking spices
Warm baking spices.
as opposed to room temperature spices.
Yes.
So.
I don't know what we're baking though. I mean, is this like a?
Yeah.
I don't know what we're baking either, dude. It's like you just leave your spices on top of your wood stove. I mean,
Tastes like copper.
Well, it should have a
That's the
warm
short in
and
your mic
silky
cord.
palate with hints of toast, fruit, and cinnamon.
Fruit,
It is-
toast, and cinnamon.
it is
Just
sweet.
Just like you want to drink your toast.
Yum, yum, yum,
It's a
yum.
breakfast cereal, kids, and it's a drink. An energy drink. Tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Toast, fruit, cinnamon. It is breakfast.
Sweet. All right. I get the sweet too.
Like fruity, yes, I'll give them that. I'm not cinnamon, no. There's a little bit of a burn at the very end, but it's short.
I agree.
It's got a weird
I
nose
agree.
to it. Not a big fan of the nosing.
The finish
Nose
it
is
says
very just meh vanilla to me. It's kind of
Vanilla. Maybe that's it.
yeah.
finish is for it says medium grainy finish with a slightly bitter outro.
It's different than things we've had before.
I'd
It's
say
because
very
it's four
mild.
different. It's because it's 4 grains. It's a funky
Some
blend.
Funky.
rye, wheat, corn, and barley.
I don't know. I don't.
You know what? It does remind me of rye.
Like
You ever drink rye?
toast, yeah.
No. Rye is in rye whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay.
It tastes kind of like rye.
Yeah.
If you like rye, you might like this. That's my verdict right there. It's like a very sweet, almost syrupy kind of rye.
Yeah. I definitely get the sweet. It's. I don't know. I'm not sure whether I love it or hate it. It's a weird
All
one.
right, time for the little water.
Yeah.
See if we can open it up a little bit.
It didn't. There's no. Like,
No.
it doesn't really need too much water. It's to me.
No, I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
for
It's-
science.
Yeah, diluting the taste a touch. If anyone out there has had this before, let me know.
So now the nose has changed to more like a wood a polish, like a furniture polish. smells like
Pine
pledge.
Sol.
Smells like pledge to me now.
Old
I know.
English.
I was like, it's a fine leather, a fine saddle leather nose.
Now you just put that in my head. I do get a little bit of leatherish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. A chemically leathery smell.
Furniture polish.
Maybe that's why I love it and hate it. It's like it's a good smell, but I don't know if I want to taste it. Like I like the smell of it, but I'm not sitting there chomping on it. I have a plastic ball gag, not the.
Cut that. See, those of you who are watching now or are watching on TikTok get the unedited,
Yes.
in the raw versions of our jokes. So, I liked it better before I put the water in. Oh, they'll open it up, and it didn't. It just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just watered
Flattened
it
it.
down. It didn't.
Yeah.
Like even with a couple drops of water, usually for a whiskey or for a scotch, it'll open it up a bit and give you more flavor. This it kind of.
I don't mind it,
got the
but
flavors, but
it just feels like I said, it feels like a rye that I would use for making a cocktail or something. It's just not.
it feels. It tastes a little bit vanilla-y and a little bit leathery to me.
And
If you
I
kind of
said-
mix those two.
I
a
said this when
touch.
we were recording the intro, but like this bottle and the fact that it's made in Michigan totally says bootleg to me. So yeah, it's purely medicinal, folks. Purely medicinal.
I think also adding the water like took out the fruitiness
Yeah.
of it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, don't if you're gonna drink this, don't add water
Don't
to
add
it.
water.
Yeah, or
Weird,
drink.
right?
Yeah, drink it a good amount before you add water. Third or fourth, water it down.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's spectacular. All right. Well, let's score it. Sans water.
It's starting to mellow a tiny bit though.
Yeah. All right. I'm torn. Yeah. It's like it's a weird mix of a 3 and an 8. I don't know. But I don't want to average them. All right,
So-
Mac.
It's a 4. I'm gonna go before I added water. Obviously, I think I'm gonna go 5.5 because I kind of agree with Rocky. It's kind of like I'm not sure if I like it, but I'm not sure if I don't like it at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's one that you have to be in the mood for. Like there are days where if it's like a peaty Isla Scotch or a real smoky Isla, like maybe I'm just not in the mood for a smoky one nowadays. This maybe you have to be in a specific mood for.
You ever get that tobacco tar aftertaste when you smoke a pipe? I'm getting that now in the back of my throat. Just like breathe against the back of your mouth. Does it remind you of like when you just finished smoking a pipe?
A little bit, but
It's like that burny, ashen kind of sensation.
a little hint
Yeah.
of it. I
I
don't
got
know.
a
Maybe
little bit of the pepper,
maybe
too.
you gotta be on the Great Lakes for this or something.
Yeah. You need the salt air.
Oh, you see, now you just led the witness because now I can taste a little bit of pepper.
Yeah, I said the pepper, yeah.
Okay.
I taste it a little bit.
It's a chimera of whiskeys because that's what happens when you put 4 different types of grains in, I guess. It's a 4-headed monster. It can't make up its mind, so neither can we.
You confuse internet hosts of kilt shows. That's what happens. All right, so you were 5.5.
6 of us.
5.5.
Where are you at, Eric?
It's kind of fun. despite everything we've said, I'll give it a 6.1.
Okay.
I could see, like I said, I could see mixing this. You know, it's kind of fun. It's not amazing, but I don't hate it.
But it's not like it's not like hurting me, and there's nothing so overpowering in it. It's like ugh.
Yeah.
So
now I am feeling it in my gut a little bit.
Okay.
It's a little raw.
Okay.
For my gut, but
I'm not. I'm good. I don't get like the oaky burn that I usually get. I'll give it. I'm about with you. I'll do a 6.3, 6.4. Because I can't make up my mind about it. But if I was in the right mood, I'd be like, yep, that's the one I would want tonight, kind of thing. Versus just it's not an everyday drinker.
Yeah.
For those who drink every day.
Well, you say a glass of whiskey a day is actually can be very good for you. I mean, just a dram, not like not knocking them back,
glass.
but you know.
Yes. Okay. So yeah,
Not
overall,
bad.
not
It's
bad. Thank you very much, David.
It's neat,
Appreciate it.
different.
All right, boys and girls. Load in the questions, whatever you have. We are but your humble servants here to give you our opinions and knowledge and thoughts and opinions on everything kilts and culture related. Mr. Mac, you man the keyboard back there. Eric,
Yeah.
would you mind regaling us with one of your preloaded questions?
You know what? I'm going to throw you a ringer. I have a question. Here's my first question of the day. Why are we wearing brown sporrans?
Was it last month?
Yes.
Last month we kind of got in a discussion on the show, and we were asking your guys' opinions. What are we doing with brown sporrans? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you want to see more brown sporrans in general offerings? You know, give us your feedback. And feedback you did. There was actually a lot of people who said, yeah, you guys need to do more brown sporrans. We want to see more different types of sporrans in brown. We want to see more options and that kind of thing. So I spoke to our sporran maker, kind of had a heart-to-heart with our sporran maker, and kind of sussed out, you know, how popular brown is versus not. And yeah, we're jumping on the brown train, as it were. I hope that's not creepy sounding. We have like 8 or 10 brown sporan samples.
That many?
Yeah. Oh, I went a little nuts. Well, I figured not all are going to be home runs. So
Okay, but when
we
you
got
say
a bunch of
when you say samples, you mean like prototypes are going to be
correct.
He's making for us.
Correct. They are currently winging their
God.
way across the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow. Okay.
They are scheduled to be delivered early next week. We are going to do a special kind of quasi-impromptu live on Wednesday is the plan. As long as there's no custom delays or something like that.
Right.
We're going to do a live unboxing of the prototype sporans. So some of them are existing sporans that we're just doing in brown. Others are like this sporan that we don't have on the website that we are going to try. We try like pigskin brown, we're trying some dark brown, some light tan, some brown tanny kind of things. So we're going to do a bunch of different things. We're going to go live Wednesday. It'll be 3 or 4 of us, not sure how many, or whoever the heck is here.
Details to come.
Yes, exactly. But we're not going to cheat. We're going to open the box in front of all y'all, and you're going to get the same experience. We're going to, kind of showcase the different samples and give our honest feedback on whether we like it or hate it on each individual model, and then kind of, talk to you guys a little bit about it as well, see which ones are winners and which ones are not.
Yeah, so if you can join us, you can be among the first to comment on these possible designs.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the designs exist. They're not possible.
Well, which ones we
possibly
decide to actually carry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Very
Nice.
good.
All right. Thank you for indulging me with that. I just thought it might be nice to get that.
Sure.
It's kind of like housekeeping, right? At the beginning of a show, people say, well, you got some housekeeping to do first. All right.
Dude, I need to vacuum.
All right. So, first question up from the Peanuts is from Brad Scarp. And he said, why are many kilters more focused on historical accuracy over style? I had asked a question about what people thought of the idea of a Jacobite / Highlander shirt with a vest a few weeks ago on, I think he means on the Facebook Kilts and Culture group. So he asked about wearing that, and a majority of the responses were something along the lines of, I hate Highland shirts because they aren't historically accurate. So he's taking it from the general, like, why do people tend to rely on historical looks first, to maybe we can talk about that shirt specifically, but
Yeah, and he was mixing it with contemporary.
a vest. I'm assuming a contemporary vest with a Highland shirt, which is, in case anybody out there doesn't know, that's like the poofy pirate shirt with the crisscross laces and the grommets.
Yeah.
So
The people, Highland shirts are kind of a polarizing type thing. They
for sure.
are not traditional, meaning they are not historical. They're meant to look historical, but they're a bit costumey. So a lot of people, frankly, myself included, don't really dig on them. We sell them. People enjoy them. Some people do. Some people freaking hate them. So you're going to elicit a strong response, period, whenever you're going to talk about Highland shirts. I would actually go a slightly different direction with wearing a Highland shirt with a vest. I wouldn't do it, not because it's not historically accurate, but I wouldn't do it because you're mixing kind of looks. You're taking something that is either costume or period-esque. I won't say period, but period-esque or costumey or Ren Fairy or, outlandery, and you're mixing it with like either an argyle or a tweed contemporary, jacket and vest, or just vest. So to me, it doesn't work because of that. You're mixing styles that shouldn't be mixed. I'm not saying you can't do it, how dare you. I'm saying I don't think it would look good because it's just, I don't know. I had an example that I thought of for this, and I forget what my example was. Do you remember?
nope.
Okay, then never mind. It just, you're mixing
back to it.
things. Yeah, you're mixing things that wouldn't look good. Let's put it in contemporary, suit wearing kind of thing. If you were wearing a piratey shirt or a Highland shirt, would you wear it with a suit? Would you wear it with a vest and a pair of khakis or something like that? No, it would look weird. It doesn't fit together. It looks like you're trying to jam two different things together that don't want to go together.
I still say that comes down to like going with something that has very rounded, organic lines with something that has crisp lines. That's the problem in my book. I mean, I could see shirts kind of like a Highland shirt being mixed with 19th century stuff for like a steampunky, free-spirited, poetic kind of look.
Dark, brooding.
Yeah.
Look into my soul.
Yeah, channeling your inner Byron, but but it's not something that mixes well with a lot of modern stuff. With a kilt, we see a lot of people do this. I've seen a lot of people wear Highland shirts with vests, especially they just like they have an argyle vest. They got the basic Kilt 101 kit, and they decided to put a vest on with it. So I don't think that particular combination looks great. I'm not a big fan of Highland shirts generally. I'd rather wear a banded collar shirt, or if you really want to go for that look, then get a good 18th century or early 19th century work shirt. Don't go with the crisscross grommety thing.
But lean into it altogether. As one thing.
I mean, but some people like it, and I would say that Highland shirts are kind of de facto traditional account now because they've been around for easily like 80 years.
I wouldn't say traditional. They're de facto part of the outfit, or
There's
part of what is accepted.
No tradition like a new tradition. I would say they are part of Highland dress now, even though they're not part of Highland dress. Yeah, but anyhow, to the original point, wouldn't really recommend that look just from an aesthetic standpoint, basically. But but then Mac said something.
No, we have one question here that, so I figured you guys could elaborate a little bit on this. We have Dan asking, is a Highland shirt the same as a ghillie shirt?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it so? Just wanted to make sure.
Highland shirt, ghillie shirt. Ghillie means laces. So Highland shirt,
technically it
ghillie
means
shirt.
worker, but
Well, yes. And I would kind of draw other parallels of, at least we're ideologically consistent. I wouldn't wear, in mixing things that shouldn't be mixed, like I wouldn't wear a dress sporran with a casual kilt and a t-shirt to a festival. It's different horses for different courses. If you're going to be casually dressed in a kilt, great, do it, but wear the appropriate thing for the outfit. If you're going to be dressed up in a kilt, then dress up in the kilt and wear the appropriate accoutrement for that outfit.
Yeah. To the broader point, though, I think that we talk about this a fair amount. That basically, a lot of men, at least in the United States, are raised with not having much of a sense of paying attention much to fashion or dressing well. So you decide to get into kilting, and you don't have any prior experience with wearing a lot of formal dress or very tailored kind of clothing. Maybe once you get into an office job or something like that, if that's how your life goes, you learn about suits and stuff, but then you're looking at like GQ magazine and stuff like this because you got to have a guide for what to do, right? So when you get into Highland dress, it is a lot safer to go with the more traditional, standard, tested over time, tested over a lot of time, looks that we have in strict Highland dress than to get funky and creative with it. So I think a lot of guys will default to that because it's safe. And like I said, also because a lot of those looks, they haven't changed much in 100 years. So they are time tested. You know it's going to work. You know it's going to look right. You know you're not going to look like a fool or like you just started. You're going to look like you know what you're doing if you stick with those guidelines. And I think that's why a lot of guys will say, go for the traditional first. Don't do this. It's not traditional. Go with that. Because A, they love it, and B, they know it works. That's my take on it.
Yeah, and it goes back to you have to know the rules before you break them.
Yeah.
Maxim, where you should try to, in Highland wear you have to discover your own style, but just starting out throwing a bunch of things together and saying, is this it? Is that it? Is that it? In different outfits doesn't necessarily work. Or you're not going to hit a home run your first at bat. So you have to kind of look at what other people are doing, see what you like, what other people are doing, what you don't like, learn what the traditional elements of the outfit are, learn how to put things together, and then once you understand that, go, you know what? I'm going to break this specific rule because why not? It's fun. And then break it. But know that you're breaking a rule and then move forward accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Now, that being said, if you're just starting out with this, all you really need is a basic kilt and a sporran and probably a belt, and you can be fine for casual wear. So don't let this feel like it's a roadblock or like you're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. No, you're not allowed into the festival. That's not how it happens. But, if you get into it as an art form, that's kind of the tradition will be your guide, and then your creativity starts off as just like a little extra spice on it, and then you add more spice as your taste buds develop. I don't know. So much for that metaphor. I think there is an advantage the longer you get into this because it is like eating peanuts, we say. So you start collecting more bits and bobs, and then you have more stuff to play with. So you can get up in the morning and it's like, hey, you know what? That shirt really goes well with that. And that kilt pin, I don't wear that often, but it looks really cool. Hey, yeah, I'm going to do that. And you get to play more. So
I'm just thinking of a Celtic festival with like a metal detector at the beginning instead of a metal detector. It's just a,
what? A grommet detector?
The kilt police who are just like, no, you're not allowed in with that. Bouncers for Celtic festivals.
I swear though, we get accused of being kilt police sometimes. We're not. I would rather catch more flies with honey and help guys get into it in whatever way is easiest for them. But yeah, there's a lot out there. So start with the tradition because it's a tried and true way to go, and then branch out as you're ready.
Yep, indeed.
Yes, Mac?
No, I'm picturing Rocky with like a bobby hat and a
there
little stick. Yeah,
he's a peeler. Rocky the peeler.
A little blackjack.
Yeah.
Right.
What's all this?
You there? What's all this in? Oi, bruv. All right.
Everybody who lives in the greater London area, please forgive us.
No, I don't want you to forget this.
You don't want to forget us? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They're English.
Yeah. Hey, I'm part English.
I know. All right, Mr. Mack, what do we got going on?
All right. So first,
how many people have we offended so far?
No, there's been a lot of discussion on the
You
topics.
bastards!
We had them in tears.
My grandfather wore a Jacobite shirt at the Battle of Okinawa. Yeah.
First, I want to address Buck Taylor, who says it's too cold to wear a kilt right now.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No.
Where is he?
He's up in northwestern PA, so
Oh, okay. I was going to say
Up off the lakes.
Dakotas or something
no,
like that.
no, it's only a little cold up there.
Yeah. No, I have a friend
Come
up
on,
in Erie,
Buck.
and she said that it's like, 11 degrees or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Buck up, Bucky.
Fahrenheit. Right.
All right, so we're gonna start with a question from the TikToks.
Hey, thank you, TikTok.
So this
Howdy.
comes from Kevin the Patriot.
Whoop whoop.
So he's like, do you think it would be worth it to create and register a family tartan?
Is it worth it? Sure.
I could break it down to two.
Do you want a family tartan? Sure. If it's not registered and there's no family tartan, and you want something to memorialize your time on this earth, and it's something passed down to your kids, and start a tradition within your own family, absolutely.
Yeah.
It will be the way that the register currently works. Is it will be your personal family tartan, not a tartan for your name, unless you happen to be a clan chief or a muckety muck of clan mech, whatever.
Right.
So they have more strict rules on registration and what you are allowed to call things or how official you're allowed to make things sound, because they don't want some random person passing something off as something it's not. That said, yes, if you say, look, I want a tartan for my name, I'm going to have my wife and kids wear this, and and my grandkids and whatever, sure, have at it. We did a tartan for a guy named Dr. Tullock. I designed that for him, actually too, and he bought a bolt of cloth and had kilts made for him, his grandkids, his uncle or his niece, his nephews, like all his extended family. He bankrolled a whole bolt of cloth and gave a bunch of people a bunch of kilts just to make it exist, because it's something he wanted to put out there and go forward with. So absolutely, if you want to do it, do it.
Yeah. Again, when you get to the registration process, it may be something like they say, okay, you can call it the Smiths of Tallahassee or something like that, but you can't say the Smith family tartan or something like that.
You can't use the word of.
Oh, okay.
Because it denotes land ownership of a thing.
I forgot about that part.
Yep. So you have to, it's just the John or the Smith, John tartan.
Okay, so they
period.
just break it down to
Correct. And you can put it in, you can put something like that in the notes probably, but you can't, because Dr. Tullock wanted to call it Tullock of Carolina, and
That's
they
what I
wouldn't
was
let
remembering.
him. Yes.
And they wouldn't let him do that.
They wouldn't let him do that.
Okay.
Because because that denotes ownership of Carolina. And I'm like, no, it's because they're from Carolina.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, okay, so I'm an idiot. But, no, so you may have to get cagey with how you name the tartan. Registering at what costs what now?
$150-ish,
Yeah,
a little
so
less.
if it's worth that to you, then fine.
Okay.
That's not the costly part. It's getting it woven. So if you want to have something you can wear or share with a group of people, that's a whole nother project. But creating a tartan, we know a lot of people who do it for any number of reasons. I mean, family or a group affiliation being at the top of the list. But you can absolutely do it, and it's a lot of fun. I'm actually gonna do a presentation for my kids' Boy Scout troop, probably even next week. Actually, my wife is gonna go in and demonstrate weaving on a loom, and I'm gonna go in and talk about the history of tartans, and I'm gonna use the tartan designer at uslakilts.com.
I was gonna do the same thing.
To let each of the scouts design their own tartan.
Nice.
And just they'll talk about how people can put meaning into the colors and the thread count and all that kind of stuff, and not that you have to, but I think it'll be a fun exercise. So go for it. Why not?
Yeah, designing
Why the hell
tartans.
not,
It's almost, I won't say addicting, but it's fun. And once you play around with it and just the simple changes, or moving one thread for one color from here to here, or changing the width of different things, it's neat to watch how it evolves right in front of your eyes. And the fact that we have a tartan designer on our website on usakilts.com. There's others out there that you can use as well, but when you think about it and you go, okay, well, how would you design a tartan? How would you know what it was going to look like 150, 200 years ago? You would have to literally weave the thing to figure out what it was going to look like. That's a lot of time and effort.
Right.
And then if you want to change one thing or make this section bigger or that section smaller, then you had to redo the whole thing. Versus now, it's like drag and drop and move this over there and change this color out for that color.
Right.
It's instant and it's spectacular.
Yeah. Yes,
Mr. Mac.
So, is there good do's and don'ts that for someone designing?
Guidelines for what
Yeah,
will be a
is
good-looking
there
design.
something that may look like? And obviously, what looks good for one person may look good to somebody else.
It's a bit subjective, but yeah, I think
But
he
yeah,
definitely
like
has.
good rules of thumb for
Yeah.
that.
The rules of thumb that I have for tartan design, a very basic general one. You want the colors within the tartan to be varying widths. Don't put in, black 20, brown 20, blue 20, green 20. You end up with like a weird checkerboardy looking kind of thing. You want to have more interest and more variance within the numbers within the thread count. I usually do a strong stripe, a white or a red or yellow at a pivot point, and you leave a little bit of space for the pivot point to breathe, so a little bit of room on either side of it, kind of thing. If there's a guards are another cool thing. If you have a white stripe and you want it to stand out a little bit more on a red background, then put 2 black threads on either side of the white stripe, and that kind of helps make it stand out. Those are called guards. So yeah, there's a bunch of little hints, tips, and tricks within tartan design. The other one I would say is stick with a similar color palette. If you look at existing tartans that are already out there and long established, modern color palette meaning navy blue, bottle green, scarlet red, those kind of colors versus muted, which is like a stormy sky blue, an olive green, a blood red. If there's existing color palettes, try to stick within those or see how the things play off of each other. It does take an artistic eye to kind of hone it in and get it right. So yeah, just play around with it, have fun with it.
Yeah. And I'll mention, because we didn't, the utility on our website is free. So yeah, it is meant for people to play with. So
Absolutely.
enjoy.
Yeah, and I will also say, don't settle on your first one. Don't rush to register something. Design. You have time.
Yeah.
The tartan has not existed before you played with it. It won't exist just relax. You get excited about things. I do as well. You don't need to design it and then think like, yep, that's it. Good, let's go. Boom, and register it, because then like a month later you're going to go back and play with it and be like, oh, I wish I would have done this color as that, or that blue should have been a little bit darker, or whatever. Play with it, come up with a design, and then wait a week and come back to it and see if you still feel as strongly about it a week later after you've had some time and some distance to sort of process it. And then if you do feel as strongly, great, register it. If you want, start playing with it a little bit more. And if you come up with a better design, great. Then you don't have to worry about, amending the register.
Yeah.
Yep. That's all I have to say about that.
Cool.
Indeed. All right. Was that you or Mac?
That was Mac.
You. All right.
All right, this one's about us, but I'm gonna get it out of the way. This is technically his housekeeping. The plated one. He was known as the plated one.
Oh, that's his name. I'm like,
That's his YouTube handle.
Right.
Said, do you think you will ever offer the option of choosing different color leather kilt straps? So again, this is technically housekeeping, because this is a USA Kilt specific question. But.
Yeah. I'm kind of warming to the idea. I'm with the last show, we asked about the brown sporns and things like that. And we started playing around with, okay, well, we're redesigning the embossing on our strap, just updating it and freshening it up a little bit. And I was like, should we offer brown straps if we're going to be doing different brown sporns and that kind of thing? And I put it out to the Facebook group and just took a poll. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think? And I was not surprised, but surprised at how crazy people like, yes, absolutely, do this. So eventually, yes, we're gonna do it. I'm scared that we're gonna screw something up and have to change
Breaking
out
news.
the straps. What's this, Mac?
I said breaking news.
Yes, but it's gonna be Mac's job to fix any mistakes.
Yep.
So, yeah, but it's something that we've been toying around with for literally. How long have I been kicking this idea in my head? Years?
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 7, 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming. we've always known it's the train at the end of the tunnel. We've seen it coming for a long time. And it's one of those things where it'll be a differentiator and allow people to have a little bit more customization and do a little bit more cool stuff with their kilts. So, yeah, we'll eventually do it.
Sure.
At some point, watch this space. April-ish. So,
There you go.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Should I do another one?
Yeah,
then?
that was a quick
Because
one.
that was kind of a,
Yep.
and it wasn't like a real question. Okay.
Oh, people have asked it, so it's a question. It's a real question.
Okay. Steve Lacosi said, "How do you choose the tartan pattern and color? Isn't it the clan badge and the crest a requisite? Aren't the clan badge and crest a requisite? I would think there are rules attached to the wearing of a clan's uniform." So
So how do you choose your tartan?
he's saying, do you actually? I think it's almost like he's saying, do you actually have a choice, or do you have to go? You should be going with your clan tartan.
Yeah. The thing that's kind of come to light sort of recently is the way that Scots do things versus Americans and why we are doing things. Can you choose, if you have a clan tartan, I'm a McDonald. Do I have to wear the McDonald tartan? It depends on your mindset. Some people will say, yes, you wear your clan tartan. If you're a McDonald or if you're a McMichael or if you're whatever, then you have a tartan. That is the one that you should wear. Period. End of story. Don't think about anything else. Other people will say, well, you can wear your clan tartan. If you don't like it, then wear a universal one. And then there's also a school of thought of, caution to the wind. I will wear whatever I want, whatever I damn well please. So the thing that I've been speaking to, through interviewing people, I've been speaking to a bunch of different Scots recently, and a lot of them, for their own personal decisions, have just picked the one that they like. And if you go, back in time, that's kind of how tartans evolved. It started with, the mill. Really, it started with the mill. It didn't start as a clan thing. It started with the mill offering a pattern. Just like if you're, if you like Lily Pulitzer, it's the only fashion brand I know because my wife used to like it. And you want a particular pattern, they have that pattern, great. Or if you have I don't know if Polo has patterns, I don't know. If you're, it's a fashion thing. But that's where it started, was, hey, warp and weft patterns, we can make a cool looking thing. We've made a cool looking thing. I hope people buy the cool looking thing. And that's the mindset of the mill back in the, 1700s. Then people would start like, oh, gee, this tartan really took off. And everyone from this local area, this is pre-internet, by the way, everyone from this local area bought a particular pattern. It was the most popular pattern that particular mill offered. And then it kind of became a de facto, and it's a loose term, like district tartan, because the people in that area bought it because it was available from that mill. Then over time, and in the 1820s, there was a rush to claim a clan tartan. And then it started becoming, okay, fine, now this is, the tartan for this name. So it evolved over time. So for people to say like, no, this is how you must do it, sure, because that's kind of where it came to. But if you go back further, it evolved from something else. So where on the history scale do you want to land? You don't have to only wear a clan tartan. You can wear something else. It's not the end of the world. Does that make sense?
What?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, you can. It's fine. I agree that if you have a clan connection, it's great to explore that and know your history and enjoy it. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. But we are often asked, what if I don't like my clan tartan? Well, no, you don't have to wear it. And we were asked way back at Celtic Classic, somebody had asked us, was it okay to wear clan regalia with a universal tartan? And our basic answer was, sure, fine, why not? So this is kind of in that realm. I think it's the same answer. It's basically, it's great to represent, and you will easily find your peeps in a crowd if you're wearing the clan tartan than if you wear a universal tartan, because people aren't going to see your clan pins and other stuff until they're like right up on you. So if you want to march in a parade, like in a a clan representation parade at a festival or something like that, then yeah, you probably want to wear a clan tartan, but you do not have to, and you can certainly mix a universal tartan or other tartan with your clan regalia. It's not advised to wear another clan's tartan with clan pins. It can get confusing, I think. But a universal or a tweed or a district, fine. Or even an Irish county, like if you have mixed heritage, part Irish, part Scottish, then sure, why not? I had another point, and I can't remember what it was.
I had another point that I forgot and I remembered.
Okay.
My point about bringing up Scottish people, the people that we've been talking to, I was a little surprised that all of them so far were basically saying, and this is not, they do not speak for everyone, but these are the Scottish people that I've spoken to, basically said like, either I didn't like my family tartan, so I got this one. I have some Irish heritage, so I got one of my county tartans as well. Or nope, I just picked a tartan I liked, and that was my wedding tartan. It's Scots tend to be, and there are other Scots who are going to, nope, I'm only wearing my clan tartan. But as a group, Scots tend to be a little less concerned about what specific tartan they are wearing and having a personal affiliation with that particular tartan, because they're wearing tartans to some degree for different reasons than the diaspora is wearing tartans. Americans, Canadians, Australians, whoever that have Scottish heritage are wearing a tartan to represent a connection to their family. Not as much to Scotland, but to their family. It's their family heritage. This is, outside of people who are wearing it for a fashion reason, but for a family heritage reason. In Scotland, they know they're Scots. They don't have to prove it. They don't have to worry about that as much. And they're wearing the kilt, generally speaking again, as a symbol of national pride, not of family connections, where the diaspora are wearing a tartan for a family connection, again, more broadly speaking.
Yep. It's worth knowing that at least one of those people that mentioned that to you is from a tartan mill.
Yeah.
So they would know.
Yeah.
They're the ones selling the cloth to people. Yeah, I think different strokes for different folks.
Whatever you're doing, just be a good ambassador of the culture. Be a good ambassador of all of it.
Right.
Don't wear it disrespectfully. Don't, not that you're going to be necessarily, or don't act disrespectfully while wearing it as well. It's just represent yourself well, carry yourself well, wear the tartan, because you are representing us, you're representing yourself, you're representing, all Celtic heritage at the same time. So be a good steward, be a good ambassador of the culture. Yep.
Ta-da!
Here endeth the lesson.
Over to you, Mac.
Mr. Mac.
One thing, and I know you, Rocky, you pointed to us the other day in saying is, once you go back so many generations, you have how many relatives from that point, and you could have a whole gamut of things from there. So if you really wanted to dig back and want to go for something particular, there's a good shot you got something in there that you don't know you have.
You could be related to Robert the Bruce because it's been a bunch of generations since then.
Yeah.
It's the mathematics on it are kind of amusing.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that when I was talking to Sean, we were the Scottish guy, vlogger from Edinburgh, he mentioned that one thing that Americans tend to do, or Canadian, tourists tend to do, it's a faux pas, shall we say, is I'm related to Robert the Bruce when they go over there. And my point is, there's a reasonable chance that there is some kind of connection to either Robert the Bruce or William Wallace or whoever.
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, exactly. It's when you go, you have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 16 great-grandparents, and you keep timesing that out, you end up with a lot.
Yeah.
So it's 8 then 16. But yes, anyway.
I get the point.
Indeed. It's the further back you go, the larger that family tree. You sit atop a huge base of a pyramid. So, somewhere in there's going to be something of note. Especially if you're related to Genghis Khan. He's quite the ladies' man, shall we say.
He got around.
Yes.
He got around. Yep.
So, indeed. All right.
All right, so we have Carl asking. I think he also asked this on Twitch as well. But he has a niece that has Irish DNA and wants a kilt, and he gave her money to get a kilt and some accessories.
Nice of him.
He's asking about Irish tartans. Like, are there good options, bad options? What should he stay away from? Is there any rules for Irish tartans? As you've just talked about names with Scottish tartans, how should they go about looking at that?
Sure. So if you're Irish and you're looking for a tartan, where do you start? In the mid 1990s, I guess it started actually in the 80s, but in the mid 1990s, there was kind of this rush for everything tartan. Because of Braveheart and that effect that had on the tartan industry in general. With the Welsh tartans coming out then, with the Irish tartans coming out, there was a kind of a rush to register a bunch of different Irish names. Loch Carron, I think it was Loch Carron, did the 4 provinces. House of Edgar did the 32 counties. Strathmore did a bunch of different Irish name tartans. So there are some. There's not a super long history, but there is some history with it. They're not official, but there's a history there. Mm-hmm. There are Irish name tartans, but not a lot of places weave them. There's many registered, but just because it's registered doesn't mean that it's woven. So if your name, let's say Ford or McCarthy, is a registered tartan, you can possibly, you can find it, you can see it in the Scottish Tartan Register, but you may have to have it custom woven because no mills are going to stock support many of the Irish names. Now, what a lot of Irish end up doing, sort of people of Irish heritage, I should say, what they end up doing, de facto, is going to House of Edgar's County Tartans, because that is the by far most popular collection, broadest collection, and allows you to get a tartan that at least relates to where your family came from in Ireland, versus trying to find a name tartan which isn't woven. Therefore, it will cost north of $1,000 to get a kilt made, versus you can get a 5-yard kilt in the county tartan for $350.
Right.
So a third the price. A lot of people are going to go that route, and time-wise as well, it's going to be a lot less time. So a lot of people go that route versus trying to have something custom woven in a name that doesn't really exist as a stock supported thing.
Yeah. I'd say the one thing I would say to keep in mind is you don't have to wear green. Irish kilting really started with the nationalists. Stop me if you heard this one. Really started off with the nationalists at the turn of the 19th to 20th century. People like William Gibson, Patrick Pearse, those guys were basically trying to say that the kilt can be a pan-Celtic garment and screw the English, so we're going to wear kilts. And it kind of took off. It kind of didn't. The county tartans and stuff in the 90s was really the biggest leap forward, a huge leap forward for Irish kilting, because before that, you mostly were just wearing saffron, very traditional color back for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years in Ireland, or blue for St. Patrick, or green to represent Ireland. And that was popular. Green was a popular color because of the revolutionaries and nationalists going back into the late 18th century when the first wolf trap flag, I think it was. So anyway,
right.
Yeah, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But so basically, they were trying to go with solid colors because they recognized that they didn't have quite the same connection to the clan tradition intact in Ireland at that time. Ireland did have a clan structure back in the day. It was different from Scotland's, but a lot of it got destroyed through the occupations.
No.
So yeah, so it's been a process of reclamation and increasing the artistry of it. So your niece could wear just about anything that strikes her fancy, and it's fine. But don't feel like it has to be green, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I would say don't overthink it too much.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when you're trying to get a younger person into wearing a kilt, and expressing their family heritage, it has to be their expression of the family heritage. They have to like it. They have to want to do it. Mm-hmm. So you helping with the financial aspect, cheers, like good on you. But it has to be her thing to buy because she's ultimately going to be the one who's wearing it. So make sure she's comfortable with what you choose. If you pick saffron. It's an orange mustardy kind of, yellowish orangey mustardy kind of color. If she says like, ugh, I wouldn't, ugh. And you're like, no, this is traditional Irish. Wear this. And she's never going to wear it. What's the point? Don't waste your money.
Yeah.
But if she says like, ooh, my family's from Mayo and Donegal, like my name is commonly found in Mayo and Donegal and Wicklow. I really like that Wicklow one. That one speaks to me.
Yep.
Great. Let her get that. Let her drive the process. Support her in it, and be Mr. Moneybags to help her get over the financial thing. But let her do it. Let her do it her own way, because the more she does it her own way, or any kid does it their own way, the more they are going to want to do it, the more they're going to want to wear it, the more attachment they're going to feel to it, because they did it themselves. It wasn't foisted upon them.
Yeah.
It was their decision.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
And to go even one step further, I don't know how old this niece is. If she's 10 and she really wants to wear a pink tartan kilt, get the pink tartan kilt. If she's like 21 and wants to have a county tartan and you got the scratch for it, then do that. But yeah, make it fun for both of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's freaking awesome.
All right. Was that you or him?
That was him.
Okay.
That was the him.
That was that
The
guy.
himbo over
He
there.
did say he got a gift card, so
Nice.
That
Oh,
helps.
from us?
yeah,
Oh,
so
oh.
that helps.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. All right.
It is appreciated, not expected.
Yeah. David Scott, possibly Scottish heraldry or heredity here. David Scott said, love the show, love the podcast, love most of all, love the kilts. Thank you. Now for the question, though.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I do have a question, though. What's the most overlooked item or the most overlooked little touch on a well-kilted gentleman? Either for a pub level of outfit or for full dress. What is the one thing that guys tend to overlook? The detail.
So I'm assuming he means what part of the outfit, what little bling, what little thing should he remember where other people forget. Mm-hmm. I'll kind of flip the question upside down. I think the thing that people forget is that simplicity is the key. The thing that the most common, I won't call it a mistake, but the most common trait that I see in people wearing kilts, especially newer guys wearing kilts for either the first time or they're newer to wearing a kilt, is that they get, as can I, they will get excited about it and they will want to do all the things all the time and put on the kilt pin and a clan, either all clan crest parts to the outfit, or I want to wear every single tiny thing, and I want to do I want to do all of it. It's all so cool. I want to do all of it. It's so fun. Relax. Calm it down, Rocky from 20 years ago.
With the droll.
No, but ultimately, simplicity is the key. The simpler the outfit is, generally speaking, the better it will work together. Like today, I have on a sweater and a sporran and a kilt. It's pretty damn simple. I don't have a belt on right now because I have a sweater on that would cover it anyway. I don't have a kilt pin on because I'm not a huge fan of kilt pins. So you don't have to go over the top and wear all the things all the time. It can be a simpler outfit, and you kind of let the kilt stand out and make its own statement versus having too many things. Think of it, here's a random comparison. If you have when you're studying in college, you're studying or you're trying to highlight things, if you highlight everything on the page, nothing stands out. It's a bright yellow page. You highlight specific little things or one or two, not everything. So think of kilt wearing essentially the same way. You let one or two little pieces of the outfit kind of stand out and everything else kind of sink in and just kind of complement the main thing. And that's how you let it go. And that works for both, casual as well as to a degree formal wear. I would pick one thing to really be the cool part of a formal outfit. I wouldn't want to wear a super crazy sporran, as well as a crazy colored kilt pin, as well as a red jacket, as well as a feather bonnet, and like you don't go over the top with all the stuff. If I'm gonna get dressed formal in a kilt, I would pick I have a regimental doublet. It's a throwback style. It is something that was the precursor to the Prince Charlie, so it's something that looks a little twist on formal. It looks different. It looks cool in a room of Prince Charlie's. But I'd wear just a normal dress sporran, maybe something that's a little Victorian looking, and a normal kilt, solid color pair of hose. I wouldn't go crazy about it. I would just do a little twist on it. Back to the, you have to know the rules before you break them kind of thing. It's not really breaking rules, but I would know where to stand and then pick one thing and go, okay, that's the thing I'm going to kind of go all in on, or that's going to be the statement piece, not all of it. Your thoughts?
I can dig it.
Dig it.
Right on. Yeah, I think what you're describing is kind of like a missing the forest for the trees
Yeah,
kind of a problem. Yeah. I don't know if I can improve on that. I will throw a bone, though, to the original, I think, intent of the technical side of the question. I personally think that the thing that guys pay the least amount of attention to is the shirt.
Okay.
Because we sound like, oh, a shirt's a shirt. Well, some shirts fit you better than others. And you tend to not think about colors as readily with a shirt. You can always default to white, but you might be missing out on doing something more creative with it. Yeah, and we just kind of don't think about shirts as much as anything else. So I'd say that'd be the one thing that guys tend to overlook is either whether the shirt actually looks good on you if you were just wearing just the shirt. Like, is it too tight or is it too billowy, depending on your build? And or are you missing out on the potential by not choosing a colored shirt or a patterned shirt? So that'd be my technical answer. But from a philosophical, dare I say it, spiritual standpoint, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think it's elegance is usually found in simplicity. So.
And the shirt is where you take regular everyday clothing and kind of blend it with Highland wear. That's where you have a chance to kind of worlds colliding, to quote George Costanza. So, and I'll give him one concrete one. Since he was actually asking for a thing, and I just completely disregarded his question. I'll give him one concrete one based on your shirt thing. Okay. Tattersall shirts.
Yeah,
I am a fan of
You're a big
Tattersall
fan of
shirts. You need a certain je ne sais quoi to pull it off. You have to be confident in your choice. It has to at least tone well with the outfit. It can't be a complete derivation of what the rest of your thing that you're wearing.
Yeah.
But if you're wearing tweed, a Tattersall shirt is a great choice. I love them. Tattersall, for those people who don't, it's kind of a check on a dress shirt. Typically 2 colors or 3 colors in the check on it, and it doesn't feel like it should work from a logical brain of like you have a plaid pattern that is multicolored, and then you're going to wear a checkerboard pattern on the top half. Like, that shouldn't blend together.
Madness.
But it does very, very well. You can, if you do it right.
Okay.
Yep, that's my thing. Very good. That was you.
Yes, it was.
Hey, you.
Hey, me.
Do you have anything to add, or are you just staring blankly at me?
No, I was going to say shoes.
Shoes. Okay.
Shoes.
That's where I was going, shoes.
Shoes.
Okay. What do people
These shoes
overlook
suck.
about shoes, Mac?
These
Bring it
shoes
on.
rule.
I would say the amount of time you're going to be standing or walking and picking the right shoes for the occasion.
Okay.
You
So
focus on the the kilt and the sporran and the pins and the belt and all the shiny bits.
the bling.
But you just throwing shoes on and not thinking about what you're actually doing.
You say that, but we get a lot of questions about shoes.
I know.
We get a lot of people being worried about whether they're choosing the right shoes.
We got some.
Yeah, so I don't think
Some are
people,
there.
I don't think people are not thinking about shoes.
I think it's still an afterthought. Like after they've kind of got everything else put together, it's oh crap.
Yeah, they're confused which ones to wear.
What do I do?
They're thinking about it. They just don't know what to do necessarily.
Right.
Or it
Okay.
doesn't feel like it goes, kind of thing. So, for shoes, if it's a dressier occasion, either a regular pair of wingtips or a pair of ghillie brogues, you're good. For casual event, my rule of thumb is if I'm wearing kilt hose, then I would wear either combat boot. I would probably wear combat boots. I don't like sneakers.
Nice combat boots though.
Yeah,
not-
nice combat boots
yeah.
or higher dressy-ish kind of
walking
boots. Or
boots,
yeah, walking
like-
boots,
yeah.
hiking boots, work boots kind of thing. But if I'm wearing, I wouldn't wear kilt hose with sneakers. It feels like
Right.
it's missing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Just
There you
bring
go.
them all, so you have them all.
got it.
And roller skates.
Yes. But, shoes, so I have them.
We should do a rollerblading, kilted rollerblading honor guard. Like when we march in the parade this April for Tartan Day in New York, we should have like an honor guard of rollerbladed, kilted guys with flags going out in front of us.
They all have to wear feather bonnets too.
Yeah.
Feather bonnets,
Yeah.
shirtless, in kilts,
Okay.
rollerblading with banners
Yep.
around.
And a fly
our
plate
group.
because you want
Yes.
that cape effect, that flapping.
What are
in
you
the wind
gonna
kind of
pin
thing.
it to if you're shirtless?
That's their
Well, I
problem.
Ugh. Like,
Suspenders
those
on the
folks-
kilt. There you go.
No. You pin that to your flesh. You suffer for your art. Yeah, not me.
Now, on that note, we are there. The kilt makers are talking about going up to up skiing here in the next couple weeks. So
Yeah.
there might be opportunity for some
Are
of
they
us to
gonna
wear
go
some
kilted?
kilts skiing.
We
Are
have
they-
pictures of customers in snowboarding.
We
and
have some
skiing
very
kilted.
unfortunate pictures of people skiing in kilts too.
Yeah. Do I want to know?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't
Fair.
look in that one folder. Interesting.
Yes, indeed. For those who are watching this pre-mid-April, we're actually going to the Tartan Day Parade. So if you want to join us in New York City for the Tartan Day Parade,
York City.
New York City, yeah, we're actually putting a group together with the Kilts and Culture group on Facebook, and we're going to be marching under the Kilts and Culture banner. So yes, come join us. It'll be loads of fun.
It's gonna be awesome.
As much fun as
Wait,
I
under?
sound like I'm having now.
It's a parade, not a funeral
It's
dirge.
going to be spectacular. I can't wait. Yay.
Jamie's over here like she's lost it. She doesn't know what to think. Okay.
Okay.
I know what time it is, Mac. Before you
I
say
know.
something, I think you know too.
I think it's
Rocky,
time.
do you know what time it is?
I have no idea. What time is it, Eric?
It's... Hey guys, our ambassador today is Kendrick Dawson, currently a heavy equipment mechanic in the United States Marine Corps. He joined up right after high school. But I should say right off that Kendrick is a white-hot ball of gumption. I can attest to this personally since he and his family visited us here at USA Kilts a few months back. For instance, while in high school, Kendrick threw himself into a number of vocations that exercised his tinkerer's brain, including construction, carpentry, masonry, plumbing, and electrics. While not building stuff in class, Kendrick got into bushcrafting, fitness, and reenacting. Now, that last bit started with him and a friend assembling their own uniforms, but it led to Kendrick digging deeper and deeper into his heritage. First, his Irish ancestors' involvement in the Civil War, then his Scottish roots. Roots that go back to the Jacobites with clan connections in both Davidson and Murray, by the way. Well, we all know how curiosity can lead to obsession, right? Well, Kendrick very quickly fell in love with Scottish culture and history, and this led him to not merely wearing a kilt occasionally, but him wearing a great kilt, daily, with all the 18th century gear to go with it. He says, I first got into kilting around 2019 when my brother got me my first kilt. It was a cheap Black Watch Philibeg, but I was immediately obsessed. For the last 2 years of high school, I wore a great kilt almost every day and slowly converted most of my wardrobe to the 18th century. As the youth say, the lad has drip. He even wore a great kilt to his prom. But Kendrick explains that for him, the best part of wearing the Fillmore is the sheer practicality of it. Scottish culture, music, and history have become core to Kendrick's outlook. He's determined to build a unique lifestyle for himself through this passion. He told me that he never would have found half of these interests if it hadn't been for discovering his heritage at the same time. He says, from the warrior culture that drove my enlistment to traditional views on service to nation and family to the clothes on my back, my heritage has played a huge role in shaping my view of the world and my goals for myself. After he completes his time in the Corps, Kendrick wants to settle down and raise a family on a homestead of his own. Now, if that sounds appealing to you, let him know, because his big dream is to foster the growth of a whole homesteading community with a strong historical Celtic influence. Now, in the meantime, if you're new to wearing the kilt, Kendrick offers this. Be confident and know what you want it for. You bear a symbol that in today's world represents your ancestors' culture and heritage. Take pride in it, in yourself and in your appearance. Carry the culture and the spirit with you proudly. As always, we recommend that you say hi to Kendrick on the Kilts and Culture Facebook group. Thank you, Kendrick, for showing us how to follow your passions and really live your dreams. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Indeed. He is an interesting fellow, 100%. So, cheers.
Cheers. And I could be tempted to sign up for that homestead, too. Except I have no useful skills.
Testify.
I can regale everyone with tales in the evening around the campfire. That's about it.
Indeed. There is something to be said for living off the grid and away from people and humans.
Yeah, but every time people say that, I also point out how as soon as the rail system went in Britain, the villages emptied because for some reason people didn't want to live with just like 5 other families and everybody was all up in your face all the time and knew everything about you. They wanted to get out for some reason. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think I need a vacation shack in the middle of the woods. Not quite Unabomber level, but I need to get away from people.
There you go. You know, I think
yes.
actually I think it's Mac's turn now. Actually,
Yes.
I was about to do another question.
Mac.
It's Mac's turn.
All right. So
Lay it on me, pal.
this
Mr.
comes
Mac.
in from the Tiki Talks.
Whoop whoop.
It's Jeffrey McKenzie 4. So there must be 3 other ones ahead of him.
Clearly.
What would you recommend for a starter kilt? Just something to wear out in the public on an average day.
On an average day.
An average
day.
kilt for an average day, Mr. Jeffrey. Okay.
It really depends on your budget. What I generally tell people when they are just starting to get into wearing a kilt is if you've been thinking about it for a while and it's something you really want to do and you're exploring your heritage and it's like you're like yes this is the first step, let's go, then I would say, without at the risk of sounding salesy, buy the best kilt you can afford. If you buy a cheap $50 kilt, you may end up a year from now being like, oh, I should have bought a better one. So it was a waste of time, a waste of money. If you buy a nicer kilt, there's not many times in life where I bought something that was more expensive and thought like, I should have bought the cheaper one. That said, don't mortgage your house. It's a piece of clothing that's going to mean something to you. But if you know you're going to love it and dig it and jump in with both feet, great. Buy the nicest one you can afford because you can dress it up and it'll be a little bit more versatile for you. If you're not sure and you're just want to dip your toe in the water, then buy a casual kilt. I'll talk about our products because I know our products. I don't know other companies. But you can get a casual kilt and wear it for, it's machine washable, Teflon coated, so you can spill things on it, throw it in the washing machine, and just kind of test the waters without having to spend too much money. Mm-hmm. The core parts, the 2 main core parts of the outfit that you're going to need right out of the gates are the kilt itself and a sporn. The sporn is where you keep all your stuff, so those are the 2 main things you need. Outside of that, then you just start playing with the accessories, and like Eric likes to say, it's like chips. Just kind of nibble at it. You just build over time.
Yep.
So start with the sporn, start with the kilt, and kind of wear it out. Wear it to a place where you're going to have friends around you, where you feel comfortable going out, because it's a weird thing the first time you wear it out in public, getting over that mental hurdle. But once you wear it out in public and you start getting into it a little bit, you're going to be like, what was I worried about?
Yeah, I think yes, get whatever kilt you can afford, the best you can afford. If you need to go cheap, fine, but by all means, please do not buy acrylic. You want to at least, maybe you could push your budget a lot and get a really good one, or maybe you can not push your budget as much and get an okay one. Just don't get an acrylic. If it costs $50 or something on Amazon, it's crap, if I may say so. You don't want something that is going to fall apart right away or is going to feel uncomfortable or move weird or fit badly, because that's just going to discourage you from actually using the thing, right? And you may have already said that, but
there's a parallel. I found when people talk about making kilts, there's two schools of thought for making a kilt. Buy the cheap fabric, because your first one you're going to screw it up and you're never going to want it's just going to be crap. So buy the cheapest thing you can afford and play with the fabric to make a kilt. The other side is no, buy good quality fabric for your first one that you're going to make yourself, because if you spend a lot of time and you're proud of the thing, but it's cheap fabric, you're never going to want to wear it. So buy nicer fabric so that the end result kilt looks nicer. I'm kind of drawing that same parallel over to this, where if you buy a cheaper kilt and you don't feel comfortable wearing it, or it's let's say you're 6'4" and it's too short on you, or you're 5'2" and it's way too long on you. If you don't have something that fits you well, or you don't like the fabric, you're going to have a bad experience, and then it's going to kind of sour you potentially to wearing another kilt later on down the road, or you're going to feel like you wasted your money.
Right.
Versus getting something that's either made for you, or the fabric is better quality and you're more comfortable wearing it, you're more confident in wearing it, and therefore you're going to get more enjoyment out of it. It's cost versus enjoyment analysis, so to speak.
Yeah, I would say sort of along those lines. Basically, another way of thinking of it is, and we're shagging dogging. A good kilt is not fast fashion. If you want to invest in one single kilt, if it is proper tartan wool, a proper wool kilt, you could wear it every single day. It will not require as much washing. It will be extremely durable. It is meant to be a lifetime garment. If you need to get cheaper kilts, or you want lighter weight kilts, then I'd recommend to become a serial kilter, as we say, #serial kilter. Then you probably want to aim for 2 or 3 on the assumption that you're going to need to wash them more often. I would say that. But remember, good kilts are not fast fashion. That's kind of part of the point of them.
Good kilts aren't cheap, and cheap kilts aren't good.
Yeah.
Like
that.
Trademark.
Da.
But you can get a reasonable starter kilt. Again, I'm thinking of our prices for $100 or so. You can get a step up for the $220, $250 kind of price point, where it's going to be a little bit nicer. And you can get into wool kilts, which are going to have a lot more tartan options if there's a particular tartan you're looking for.
Yeah.
At about $300 to $350, that kind of range. So it's budget accordingly. If you want to just test the waters, great, go with a lower price point, but know that you're going to eventually, if you like it, want to upgrade.
He's asleep by now. I'm imagining Jeff be like, okay, I get it. Just
shut up.
Stop. Hopefully you got the message across.
It's kind of like my kid.
I know. All right. Okay.
God, Dad.
God.
No, I know. I'm sorry. Stop telling me.
I don't know why I turned into Napoleon Dynamite there for a second. God. Just get a kilt. That was not a very good Napoleon Dynamite. I can do better. You know what I've learned this morning? If you want to do a really good Arnold Schwarzenegger accent, have a little phlegm in your throat.
I'll be sure to put some phlegm in my throat.
Because I had some phlegm in my throat this morning, and I was doing a really good Arnold Schwarzenegger accent because my throat was a little bit clogged.
Yo, that's a pretty good Arnold Schwarzenegger you got there.
Thank you. Come, I have never played you before.
Yeah. Yes, but I can bench press more than you, I think. Then.
Yeah.
I'm a much better actor.
I
was almost Rodney Dangerfield. I transitioned from Stallone to Dangerfield on that one.
Oh, no respect in the ring.
I tell you, no respect. I tell you.
Welcome to our show where we talk about kilts.
Yeah. And horrible impersonations.
Yeah, Carl Taylor says, for someone with, sorry. Carl Taylor said, for someone with lymphedema, where would you suggest buying garters? For those who don't know, lymphedema is a condition which can cause your legs, especially your calves, to swell up to nearly 30 inches. So due to that, he highly doubts that it's feasible, but he figures, got to ask if you want to find out anything. So
yeah.
Is there a chance for someone who has that medical condition to have hose and flashes that look good.
Right. If your calves are, I have pretty sexy calves. My calves are about 16 inches, and they're. Come on now. Dead sexy.
God.
Dead sexy calves.
That's a first. That's never happened on this show before.
No, usually I would pull my leg up, and I'm like, ah. Yeah. And then you have to have the black bar across the
Holy
bottom.
crap.
Yes. Now.
Wow.
And now
if
for something completely different.
In all seriousnness.
Yes, indeed. The calf fans OnlyFans channel.
It's very Victorian.
Indeed. I'm going to stop.
All right.
So,
if you have swollen legs.
yes, normal average size. I would say average size. Human calves on men are about like 14, 15 inches, something in that kind of circumference. So 30 is a very, very, very large calf. That's like bigger than my thigh kind of thing. Mm-hmm. If you have that affliction, then it's wrapping a set of elastic garters around your leg would cut off circulation and probably exacerbate the situation. I kind of went to, what if you did like garter ties? Mm-hmm. Normally garter ties are, they're, knitted long pieces of thing that, you wrap around your legs essentially twice, and then you tie it, and then it kind of like hangs down the outside a little bit. Maybe you just hang it around there once. That could work.
Mm-hmm. They're very stretchy. Garter ties are pretty stretchy.
They're stretchy. The other thing I would suggest is, a lot of kilt makers or tailors, tailors would have them too, get a piece of elastic. All a garter tie is a chunk of elastic. Usually it's, about an inch wide, and it has like a little metal adjustable thingy on there and then a little clip, and it goes around your calf and it holds the flashes that hang down the outside. So if you're finding that those, even at maximum width, fully extended, are still too much, or it's still, clamping down on your leg, I would get a piece of elastic or contact a kilt company. We have elastic here specifically for people like that, where their calves are bigger and their garters will not fit. We can cut, if you're, let's say, 30-inch circumference, we can cut a piece of elastic to 27 inches, put some little Velcro on there. We don't have the metal bits, but we can put Velcro on there and then wrap it around so it stretches a little bit, not a massive amount, or it's not, restricting blood flow.
Yeah.
So that could work. Mm-hmm. Alternatively, I would say maybe if you wear like diabetic socks, like compression socks, that help keep the fluid out of your lower extremities. Maybe you wear a pair of those, thinner pair, underneath the kilt hose. Now it may screw up your shoes that you're wearing. It may add too much thickness for wearing two pairs of socks. But wearing a pair of diabetic socks or compression socks, and then wearing, maybe that will help keep it down so that they can wear a pair of either garter flashes or ties around the outside.
I don't know. And I also don't know if it's something where it fluctuates in the course of a day. Like the longer you're on I would imagine it probably gets worse in the course of a day if you're on your feet a lot. But I think there's a number of ways you could do it. You just need to be a little bit crafty. I mean, we could probably help you out. Somebody else could make these for you, but you could also make them at home. Like buy the flashes that you think are to match your tartan. Get the ones that look nice to you, and then get some elastic and Velcro and make your own garter strap for it. It's not hard to do. And Matt had posited this too, and you're talking about there's the elastic garter ties that he's talking about that are used with flashes, and then there's the traditional wool woven garter ties, capital G garter ties, which are another option to wear with kilt hose, which again the wool weave is pretty stretchy, so that's what you were talking about earlier. Just take a garter tie, a traditional tied tie, and do it around just once. Might be another way to do it. Or I'd almost say you could even like buy an extra pair and stitch them together with a box stitch. Make them extra long garter ties. So I think with a little crafty DIY kind of attitude, you can come up with something that you'll like the looks of. That's my thinking.
Yeah, I don't disagree. You may have to get a little creative, a little crafty, as you say, but it could happen.
Yeah. So don't let it stop you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mr. Mack.
All right, so we have Kate asking, well, first all stating that this was a little earlier in the discussion, but she said that her dad drinks Bushmills Irish whiskey, and but she'd love to find other whiskeys to try. For someone just starting out learning, what 2 or 3 would you suggest are the best, or should start off with?
Ooh.
Sure.
Does she have any? But she has no experience at all, other than Bushmills.
Is she looking for whiskey, Irish whiskey, or Scotch
She
whiskey?
said whiskeys. She just said whiskey, other whiskeys
Whiskeys,
to
okay.
try.
Oh, it's a universe.
Yeah.
It's a massive, massive
It is.
thing.
The two, recognize that your tastes will evolve over time, and the more that you try, the more open you become to different things. When I first started doing it, I was firmly in the Isla camp, the peaty, the smoky, the heavy flavor, and then a customer got us a whiskey called Shildag, and Shielddaig, and I was just like, oh, all right, well, try it. This is actually how we started
Back there, is
doing.
it?
I don't think it's back there anymore. This is how we started testing whiskeys on the show. Was there was like one of the first whiskeys we got, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like, should we? I don't want to review it on the show if we're not going to like it. I don't know. We shouldn't do that. And then I tasted it, and I was like, oh, this is really good. We need to do this on the show. So the Shield Egg is one of my go-tos. I think it's a Speyside. It's really, really good. It's a great beginner's whiskey as well. Another one that I would say is Glenkinchie. Is
That's
another
a
one that
Highland
I've
one,
had.
right? Is Glenkinchie?
I forget. I'm not that good. I know we've tried it before.
Glenorchy.
No, yeah. You're
I always conflate them.
you're not thinking of Glenorchy. You're thinking of what's the one that's from the islands? The Highland Park from Orkney Islands.
Sure, that's not
Maybe.
what I was thinking, but okay.
Okay, sorry, I'm
Okay.
not in your brain. Glenkinchie is another good one, and I would also say if they've never had, if they like Irish but not Scottish, or if they like American bourbon but they're just trying to get into Scotch. One weird little tip: get a bar of chocolate, a good bar of chocolate, and it was supposed to be dark chocolate or milk chocolate. Dark chocolate.
Dark.
Yes. Get a good dark chocolate, break a piece, and take a small piece of dark chocolate, put it in your mouth, chew it up a little bit, and hold it in your mouth so that you have, a chocolatey flavor, and then drink a little bit of whiskey with that, or a little bit of Scotch with that. And it's weirdly a different world. And people who don't really appreciate Scotches can go like, oh, this makes sense now. It pairs really, really well together. That's the first time we had Glenkinchie when we were doing the tasting with Bill Reed. We did that, and I was just like, ooh, this is really neat. It's a weirdly different experience to have it at the same time.
Yeah.
What's your go-to for entry level?
It depends. I mean, it really depends on how much money you got to spend. If you don't want to spend too much, I was thinking in terms of like trying to be strategic. Like, if you don't know what you like, you might want to see if you can find a tasting party somewhere in your area. A lot more people now are doing whiskey tasting parties, and that would be a nice way to get some exposure to different types, and also get some leads from people who know what they're talking about, unlike us. And then for Irish, I would go with Redbreast. I'm a fan
Okay.
of Redbreast.
Okay.
If you are going with Scotch, then I would try to do one Isla and one Highland, unless you're absolutely sure you like sweet or you really like peaty. You know what I mean?
Isla is an acquired, so
I know.
I would be
I know.
concerned. I wouldn't do that.
I don't know.
first,
She might be
Yeah.
adventurous. Maybe she likes stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I would go with try to go for something a little sweeter. I want to say Glenorchy. I mean, that's one I liked. I like the Dalmore a lot, but
Yeah.
that's not necessarily
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah. I will give a we minor plug for this. This is the Scotch
it's
that
fun.
we're testing on the show today.
Well,
Journeyman
whiskey.
Distillery. Well, she said whiskey. We were talking about Scotches, but this one is from, you said Minnesota or Michigan?
Michigan.
This is organic
bad.
or Silver Cross whiskey. This would be a pretty good first drink whiskey. Like, I think a lot of it's not a crazy flavor profile, one way or another. It's reasonably sweet. So I think this one would do you well. Anything you see behind us that you can't live without there, Eric?
Not Enigma.
Not Enigma.
Hated that.
Since he's talking away from the microphone, I will say not Enigma.
Not Enigma.
Dalmore's a really
Dalmore's
good
up
one.
there?
Yeah.
Dalmore's hard to beat.
It's not cheap, though.
Yeah.
The ones that, like, Shield Egg is like $40 or $50. Glenkinchie, again, that kind of range. I'm trying to think of something that's not too crazy expensive.
Not Smokehead.
Not Smokehead, yeah. Nothing with a really strong flavor profile.
And I'll say this. I mean, a good liquor store attender, employee, attendant, I don't know, should be able to give you some advice also. And a good rule of thumb is if the name sounds gimmicky, it's probably not good. Okay? If the name is something like, Fireheart, or Highland Stag, or it's just like...
Or Enigma.
Or Enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically it. But I think you should be able to find one or two that you like for under $100 that would give you a nice cross section to try. But I'd probably start with a Highland. You were talking about scotches or a Speyside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speysides are very nice and light and smooth.
Yeah.
So, yep, indeed.
Yep.
All right. That was Mr. Mac.
Yeah.
Eric, what do we got coming up?
That's the first time anybody's ever asked us about whiskey. What
Fools!
what platform were they on? Where did the question come from?
It was either YouTube. I think it was YouTube.
So they're probably getting bombarded with recommendations now also.
Let's say YouTube. Yeah. Hey, you people out there.
Yeah,
Hey, you peanuts.
You people. Put in the comments, what is your favorite whiskey or scotch for people who do not drink
First
scotch
intro.
and whiskey? What's your intro? What is your go-to
They're
that
already
you would
doing it.
suggest? Yes,
They're
absolutely.
They're like 5 steps ahead of you, man.
Yeah, there's been quite a few, some of which you guys have already mentioned already. So
See, I was doing this for the clip, and Eric just ruined it. Dun 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 dun.
You want to just repeat the line?
No,
can
it's
edit
too
it.
late now. No, my feelings are hurt.
Whatever. Meanwhile,
Back at the ranch. Bo Duke and Boss Hog.
Seamus Ross said, crazy question, but wool smells terrible when it gets wet. I don't want to smell like a wet sheep or a wet dog when caught in the rain outside. Are there any advancements on the additives to a wool kilt, to help in this regard? Yes, I have poly kilts as well for those days. So they do have some man-made fabric kilts. So I don't know why you're asking, Seamus, but I don't know how sensitive this person is, but what do you do about the wet wool smell of a kilt?
So we are not going to market our new cologne. Ode to you.
I was gonna say ode to you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is creepy that we're thinking of the same jokes in our heads
actually.
simultaneously. But EWEU, yes.
Yes.
I don't think wool kilts don't have the same odor as an Irish sweater or like a wool sweater kind of thing because it's treated differently. It's finished, it's washed, it's not in the grease. There's a lot more treatment to the fiber and to the yarn than there would be to like a wool, the material that the yarn you would knit a wool sweater with. So I don't think it's that big of a problem. I've had a kilt in the past, and I think I would guess, and this is me guessing, it is down to like the dyes used in a particular kilt. There's one that I had, I think it was my either McDonald Clanbrannel muted or my Cameron muted, that there was like a sulfury smell when it got wet. So I was at a festival and I was wet because it rained on the day, and and sweating and da. So you had a little bit of a sulfury smell, and I was self-conscious as all get out about it, by the way. But it was the wool itself, and I don't know if it was like the sulfur in the dye that was kind of coming out in, for me, body heat, warm, and making the kilt smell weird. But I basically just wet washed it once or twice, and that kind of went away. I didn't have the problem again. But it's not something that's like a regular problem that I've experienced with the dozens of wool kilts that I've had.
Yeah.
Have either of you, we can bring back in for this too, have either of you had any smelling issues aside from your lack of hygiene?
I mean, when we
Thanks.
iron them, when we're working on them, when we iron them, you can definitely smell with certain dyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Muted more than most.
Yes. So we noticed that there. I mean, we were at a Celtic fling and during a torrential downpour, and Lucas was like he worked on a frigate when he came back in from the tent. He was drowned in water. But I'd be curious to this if it's per mill, like if certain mills, in maybe it might be the content of their mixture and their wool they use,
Possibly.
or even the dyes that they use. If some mills, if some mills are a little bit more smellier than others when it gets wet. I haven't really noticed anything with mine when they've gotten wet, but I'm usually not out dancing in the rain when it's so. But I'd be curious about taking a sample of a little sample of each. And
What about? I to backtrack, I can't say I've really noticed it much. I definitely noticed that effect more with period clothing, cloaks and mantles and tunics and stuff that are a much coarser fabric. I
Okay.
notice it, but with my kilts, not so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I also am not really bothered by it. I'm not that sensitive to the wet dog smell.
Well, plus if we're
But-
at a festival or something and there's multiple people that are kilted, multiple people that could be soaking wet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
It's-
know.
You just point to the other guy.
Yeah. But if you're all smelling the same thing, you kind of become nose blind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
So what about it? I mean, have you guys, having worked with the fabrics, could you point to a mill that would be a better bet for somebody if they're worried about this? Like, oh wow, you should definitely just get House of Edgar cloth for your kilt, or no, don't do that one
I think it has more to do
with the dyes they're used for.
with muted specifically,
Really?
because it's the
Interesting.
yellowish green. It's the yellow in the green. It
Yeah.
smells sulfury.
Well, sulfur and yellow dye. Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
understood, and that's kind of where I'm going with it. That's where I think that's probably the only time that I've ever
I mean,
noticed a trend. Shall we say.
when Kelly was in every day, when she was in the production room every day, she would always point out oh, this one smells like popcorn. This one smells like she'd point out different things.
Yeah,
she was
would
definitely
get creative with her smells.
but she was definitely a lot more sensitive to that than what we were. Like, oh, sure, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, and it's, for the record, this is a mountain out of a molehill. This is not something that the average person has to worry about smelling like they just, exited Hades across the river. And this is not that strong of a sulfur thing. It's, you smell it when you are having iron and steam and you're
Yeah,
pushing
yeah.
hot air and hot steam through a fabric.
Right.
You can smell it a little bit, but it's not something like walking around, you're going to stink and people are going to be like, what the hell did you... No, it's not that. Don't worry about it. It's okay. But it's, you would notice it at particular times, and the only thing, Mac, do you have any other not trends, but any I guess trends that you would notice it by the smell? Is it just muted, and I'm not trying to lead the witness here too
yeah.
much.
That's what I was trying to think as you were talking, if I noticed any other particular ones. Not that I can point out, but yeah, nothing rings a bell. We know when you notice it, you notice it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to keep a tally in the back of my
Keep
head.
a nose out for
Yeah,
it.
when
Yes.
as we're doing stuff now, to see if it's particular dye, like a dye lot type thing, or if there's more, like you said, more yellows, more reds, more, something that would need.
Well, historically speaking, Do I do it?
Eric's going to come up with a bullshit story, so everybody buckle up. Get your hip waders, because it's going to get deep.
There are two instances historically where this became a factor. Number one was with hunting or deer stalking. Essentially, you would always approach from, downwind of the animal. That's normal common sense. But it was even more of a concern with Highlanders hunting the deer in the Highlands. So one of the things they would do is the night before a hunt, they would smoke all the kilts over the fire, so that basically they're getting rid of the wool smell and instead giving it more of a wood smoke smell. And that essentially apparently was enough of a distract and a cover-up, so they didn't have to worry about the deer picking up on the odor. That's also the main reason why the Highlanders would drop their kilts before they went into battle doing a Highland charge, because the odor coming off the kilts would warn the enemy like miles away. So you get rid of the kilt before you go charging in the battle. There's just,
Oddly enough, it's also the impetus for the song Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire.
Yeah.
Because the Highlanders would
Yeah.
actually stand over the fire
Yep.
in their kilt, roasting their nuts.
yeah, to get rid of that wool smell.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah,
This is
true.
all true.
It's true.
Absolutely. Listen to us 100%. All right, enough of that. Was that Mac or was that you?
That was mine.
Okay. Mr. Mac, I hope no one else believes that.
I get all the smelly questions.
Or just bring a flock of sheep and with you,
Yep.
everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So
You're good.
Yep. We have the giant battle sheep, and you cling underneath like Odysseus, cling to the bottom of the sheep.
now you got to spray paint the sheep or dye the sheep.
No, you have a big...
They're already tartan. They're Highland sheep. They're already tartan colors, Mac.
You have a big wooden sheep, and you roll it to the Highland Festival, and you all climb inside. You leave it outside the gates as a gift. Okay.
And Adam's over here like,
There's some artwork
oh
for
no,
somebody
they're
to
gonna
do.
want
I'm
me
going to have to
animate all
mock this up. Yes, you are. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
So we're going from sheep to feet.
Matt.
All right. So Mike is currently looking for a set of Piper brogues, but is proving difficult at the moment. He has an 11 size or US 11 4E shoe size,
Yep.
Okay.
and had no luck. Are there any good alternatives to Piper brogues for a day wear event?
Is this for parade duty or like solo gigs?
Yes.
Sure.
Doesn't matter much, but okay.
I have...
Just curious.
There's two companies that we get ghillie brogues from, both of which do Piper brogues. Neither of them, to my mind, come in a wide. There's one company who shall remain nameless, who I'm not a big fan of their brogues or their fit. So we don't get from them. They might do a wide in a 4E, but I'm not. It may be out there. It may not. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna speak too negatively, so I'll just say, yeah, we don't carry them. I'm not sure. You might be able to find them. You might not. I don't know if there's a great alternative.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, we carry our Glenfinnan brogues. Again, not to be product heavy, but our Glenfinnan brogues we carry in a wide size. I think it's a 2E. It's not a 4E necessarily. It's just a standard wide. But they're leather bottoms. They're not going to be good for marching in all day. I feel your pain.
Literally.
Yeah, yeah. The reason someone would get Piper brogues versus regular ghillie brogues is because Pipers tend to march for in a parade, and they're gonna have thicker soles. They're gonna have better padding in the shoe. They're gonna be a slightly different build to allow for the feet to expand and not crush your feet during the day. So because your feet, if you're marching a half mile, 27 miles, I don't know, a parade marathon. Or test 26.2. But if you're going to be marching, you want your shoes, your footwear to be comfortable, and wearing a pair of leather-bottomed ghillie brogues would not be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a great answer for you.
I mean, if he's wearing, potentially, if this is a parade thing, and he's wearing spats over top of those,
Kind of where my brain was going.
how much of that is going to be noticed?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing competition wise, if it's like a competition, it's gonna be picked out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's your everyday parade for whatever,
Yeah.
event, you
Yeah.
know, how much is
Yeah.
that really going to be noticed if he's
Yeah.
wearing like a sneaker or a dress shoe of sorts under there?
What I would say, the reason I didn't go there was because generally, if somebody is going to be wearing spats, spats are the things that, you know, go up your legs a little bit and to cover the top of the shoe. If they're going to be wearing spats, they would just be able to wear a pair of comfortable boots or a pair of comfortable sneakers or something like that, just all black, so that you don't really see it. It's kind of camouflaged. But if he is specifically asking for ghillie brogues, Piper's ghillie brogues, he's probably not wearing spats over top of them.
Yeah.
I appreciate your thought.
I mean, that's where I went, just as an alternative.
Maybe, hopefully, but yeah.
That could work.
Yeah. It's the struggle is real for guys with wide feet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, kind of.
Clearly, the paradigm has to be shifted. There has to be a
Indeed.
different kind of uniform standard for pipers.
I'll
They
talk to
don't
my
have
people.
to deal with this. Yeah.
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 It's a reasonable question, especially for pipers.
Right.
If you're
No, it
going to
is.
be marching for it's the economies of scale thing. How many pairs need to be ordered?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to be marching, your feet are going to swell, even just the normal width. Your feet are going to swell a little bit throughout the day. So maybe a wider size pair of ghillies might be something that could be explored.
That's kind of why I was wondering if it was for personal gigs, solo gigs, as opposed to part of a band. Because
Yeah.
if I were a quartermaster, I'd probably opt for just wear whatever shoes that are going to work for you guys. As long as they're black, we're going to invest in spats for everybody. Or get funky with it and do like gray spats or black spats or something interesting like that. But let them find the shoes that are going to work for their feet.
I'll go completely off the reservation here. This is not something. If it's a problem, and you are really stuck, and there are zero options, and everything sucks, then I would say this: maybe get a pair of wide ghillie brogues with leather bottom, and take it to a cobbler and have them resoled. Then you could get a rubber sole on the bottom. Then you could get a different insert in the shoe with a little bit more padding. Then you can get rubber heels and that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
It's not going to be cheap. You're probably going to spend, if you're spending $120, $140 on a pair of shoes, you're probably going to spend another $100 to have them properly resoled. But if you're stuck and have no other options, it might be something to consider.
Interesting.
So Piper's ghillies, they usually have a heel
Heel cleat.
plate
Heel
of some
cleat.
sort.
Yeah.
Do they have a toe plate too?
Regimental ghillie brogues have a toe and a heel cleat. Piper ghillie brogues usually just have the heel.
Just have the
cleat.
heel. Okay,
and that's really so that it's not going to wear down as you're walking
Yeah,
along.
I just couldn't remember if it had a
clicky
toe.
noise.
But some people are really into that noise though. That's the other my concern I have is because it becomes part of the performance is hearing that.
And that's where I think his point is comes into play there with getting him resold with getting those plates put on there as well.
Yeah. Indeed.
Wow. Good luck.
Yes. Good luck. All right. That was Mr. Mack.
It was. All right. So the Kilted Trucker 59 coming in on Highway 9.
Coming in hot.
Never drive faster than I can see. Says, do you believe that a person can have too many kilts or kilt-related items? For example, kilt pins. I'm almost taking this as a joke question, but is it possible to have too many bits and bobs in your kilt wardrobe?
Is it possible?
This is definitely
Sure.
a lighter question.
Is it possible to have too many kilts? Sure, but the floor in my house has still supported the weight of my closet.
Right, it's reinforced.
My closet did rip out of the wall under the weight of my kilts. I did have to rebuild my closet much, much stronger than originally was intended. All right, so I'm going to take it sort of serious and sort of not.
Sure.
Can you have too many kilts, too many accessories? I would, the money-loving capitalist in me says no. But the pragmatist says, yeah, you can have too many of anything. Don't become a hoarder.
Right.
But it's the way I would kind of tip the scale from collector to hoarder is when you have things that you're not using. And where I kind of came with it for myself was there was a guy, he's dead now, wonderful human, named Hamish. And those of you who go back to the early 2000s and X marks the Scott, he was, he was a kilt collector. He was a gentleman of the highest caliber, and we had the honor of a collaborative effort between us and Barb Tewksbury and Dog Leash and something else. I designed the Centennial tartan for Hamish, and then we had it woven for him, and then Barb Tewksbury made this 100th kilt.
He owned 100 kilts.
He owned 100 kilts, and that's a lot of kilts.
That's a lot of kilts.
So my question is, if you have 100 kilts, how often do you wear any one of those kilts? And were some of those kilts, when you were a 36 waist and now you're a 42 and maybe it doesn't quite fit anymore? Where I went with it in my own life was I would have kilts that, I had kilts that I wore and I either grew out of or no longer liked the pattern, or it was a solid color kilt. I wasn't really keen on it anymore, whatever.
Yep.
And instead of it just languishing in my closet, and whether that is a kilt, whether that's a sporran, whether that's a kilt pin, a piece of kit, rather than it languishing in the closet because you either outgrew it or you don't care about it anymore or you don't like it as much anymore, pass it on. Give it to somebody else. If you're feeling altruistic, then find a kilt newbie and give it to them to help them along in their journey. If you're feeling like, well, I need the money, well, great. Then put it up on eBay, or find a group where you can sell this stuff online and sell it. Recoup some of the money and put it towards a newer, cooler thing that you will use. If you do it that way, you're getting money and karma points, because let's say you have a kilt that is, a 36 and you're not a 36. You're now married, your wife's a good cook, and you've ballooned a bit over the years, and I have no idea, and this is not me personally speaking. So it's just going to sit in the back of your closet. Sell it. Just pass it on. Give it to somebody else. Get somebody into it that is looking for a deal or doesn't have the scratch to get something brand new and custom for themselves. You're putting good juju out in the world. It's getting a second life with a new person, and you get more money to put towards a new kilt. So you're supporting a new kilt company or the same kilt company, whatever it is. You're giving somebody else a new thing at a cheaper price, and you're getting a new kilt at a percentage off because you're using that money to put towards something else. So it's kind of a win-win-win in my estimation. So that's kind of where I've gone with it for myself.
You done?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I have salient points.
Point made. Well, good night, folks. No, I think, that's basically it. Yeah, I mean, I think as you start to collect over the years, your tastes do shift a bit. The weight and fit issues aside, you tend to decide you'll like different things over time, or want to experiment with different things, or things just wear out, like the back of your kilt pin breaks, just a mechanical failure. So yeah, you can collect a lot of stuff, but it's okay as long as it's not obsessive and as long as you're willing to let go of it. I mean, actually, I've given stuff away to people here in the building because I can't use it anymore, and including me, and it's always appreciated and it's fun. It kind of keeps it going. So I would say it's okay to collect. I mean, I'd say you have too many things if you get to a point where you really have decision paralysis. When you go to get dressed in the morning and you really just cannot decide what the hell you're going to do, then you may have too many things going on. But I'm a clothes horse, so I'm not a good one to judge. I have a very full closet, and I like playing around with all kinds of different vibes with my outfits. I mean, you can see it on this show, the variety of different things I wear here. It's just like, I'm constantly tinkering. So, don't mortgage your house.
But you want to have enough pieces and parts to the outfit
to actually play with.
To play with,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
You want to have enough things that you can create new looks and new outfits and have different, looks for different moods, so to speak, without again mortgaging the house or feeling like you have too many things going on. So there's a balance, and that is an individual thing that you're going to kind of have to figure, where do I want to strike that balance in my own life.
I'll say this: you can never have too many kill hoes. because they wear out. You wash them.
Yeah, that's
Lots
a
of kilt
wear
hose.
outable.
Yeah, I'd say that's one thing you can never have too many of. And then you can make sock puppets.
Yeah, but I have drawers stuffed with kilt hose, and what I find is that the ones on the bottom never get used.
Then you have too
So,
much.
I know, but you just said I never had too many kilt hose.
Okay, well, all right, I
You
lied.
liar.
Do these kilt hose bring you joy?
It all brings me joy.
Well, then you're basically screwed.
I make sock puppets and I hug them at nighttime. Little sock monkeys.
Oh, we should make like kilt hose sock puppets and monkeys to
Yeah,
sell to
sock
the
monkey
kids.
things. Yeah.
Give them to the kids when they come in. That'd be great.
No,
No?
not making sock monkeys out of kilts.
Sock Nessies. Back me up on this, guys. We use green hose. Come on.
If
Come
you want to see
on.
Eric make sock Nessies in his free time and give them away to all the little children, please let us know. And I'll be sure to have him do that
Arrested.
on the weekends. Yeah.
That's not weird at all.
Hey, kid, want to see my Nessie?
God.
Yeah, no.
Self-addressed stamps or stamped letters.
Yeah,
Right.
please write letters to Eric at USA Kilt.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's like a coupon in
Yeah.
the back of the USA Kilts catalog. Send away with these box tops to get your Nessie puppet.
Only 896,000 needed to get one. Indeed.
Oh wait, that was mine. It's
Mac.
Mac's turn.
So do you guys have an idea on how many kilts that you guys own?
It changes.
Yeah.
Come on, we do this every few months. You're like, how many kilts do you guys have?
Well, it's part of the
Alright, let's
question.
see.
I mean,
Let me think.
it leads into the question here.
Way to insult the people asking the questions, Eric. It's fine. I probably have 35 or 40. I just cleaned out a bunch of stuff in my closet. So, yeah, I have about 35 or 40.
I've only got like 15 or 16.
Okay. How many you got, Mac?
15 that I can remember off the top of my head because
There you
I've been trying to compile a list on this side.
Hey, Mac, how many pieces of cloth do you
How
have
many
in your
pieces
office?
of cloth do
How
I
many
have in my
finished
office
kilts
right
do you
now?
have?
I have a Sword of Appen hunting piece.
Oh, okay.
That is the only one in my office.
How many pieces of cloth do you have that you're going to be making into
So
kilts?
I have that one. I have a continue piece. I have the
Tweed.
no tweed is
made the tweed
done.
one?
Tweed
Okay.
is done.
Yeah,
and
the flyers.
that one, and I have the large, extra large set of the misrun of what was that? Was that Philly
Police and fire.
Police? Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, you
man.
got some of
the
that too?
giant set
Oh,
that's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
27 inches wide.
Yeah, you put it on the side of a building.
Yeah. So those are all the pieces I have left now.
Okay. Congratulations. You've
Yes.
caught up by one.
Yes. No, I actually caught up by 3.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Okay.
Indeed.
Cool.
So, we have our fair share.
Yeah.
Catch up. Buy more. All right, Mr. Mac.
all right. So this will be a shorter one, but Harold is asking, what are our thoughts on wearing black thermal long johns under a kilt?
In Minnesota right now? Sure.
The it's I wouldn't. It's horses for courses. If you're going to be outside and shoveling the driveway in a kilt, and you really, really want to wear a kilt to shovel your driveway, sure, wear a pair of long johns. Would I wear it as a regular thing running around? No, because to me it would look weird. I mean, it's a kilt. In my brain, when you're wearing a kilt, you should see a bit of knee. Period. It's part of the outfit. It's part of the look. So a kilt is worn to top to middle of the knee, and then your kilt hose come about 3 fingers breadth below the bottom of the knee. So you'll want to see a little bit of flesh right there. If it's freezing cold outside, and you're going to be outside for an extended period, sure, but I would question your sanity wearing a kilt at that point. So, yeah, that's kind of where I would go with it.
Yeah, I've got merino and thermal underlayers, and I have a couple where I've cut them off, so they're kind of like a a little longer than bike shorts, and I've used those on extreme weather days if I wanted to go kilted, like, hiking or something. Yeah, I mean, context is the thing. So a lot of time I just don't care. I will wear some kind of underwear if it's super cold, and I'll have the thicker of my kilt hose on.
Yes.
Like the hand knits, I'll use those. But I would only do full length leggings if it was really cold and I was doing like an extended hike thing. But honestly, yeah, and in those cases, to be perfectly honest, I'd probably be using like a utility kilt or something anyway. I wouldn't be having a wool kilt. So at that point, who cares?
Yeah,
It's about at that point it's about the movement potential than the look for me, because the raccoons really don't care about my tartan.
Yeah, and the other thing I would potentially do is I would, knowing that I overheat, especially if I'm going to be hiking or you're doing some kind of physical activity, then I would possibly wear a kilt with bike shorts or something like that, and then or long johns cut off, and I would still wear kilt hose, and then if I got if my knees themselves were cold, I would just pull the kilt hose up.
You could pull the cuffs up.
Exactly,
If
I pull the cuff up.
Yeah,
and then that way. But if I'm in the woods, I'm not trying to impress anyone with looks.
So who cares?
It's form follows function. But I wouldn't plan for failure. I would plan for little things here and there. I don't know.
Yeah, you know who wore leggings with kilts? George IV. He had these pinkish flesh tone colored leggings that he wore when he was in Scotland.
And teased about it.
Oh man, I got mocked mercilessly for it.
And that's why he wore flesh tone ones.
But they could still tell,
I know, and it's
stupid.
the funniest thing. The funniest thing ever to me is when we go to a festival, and we're selling a kilt, and it's a younger kid or somebody who's a little bit unsure of themselves, like I want to get a kilt, okay, and then they want to wear their pants under the kilt, or they have like long shorts on. Well, it's fine. I'll just leave my shorts on underneath it. But like, why? It look like you can tell they're sticking out the bottom, or you're wearing pants. It looks weird. No, it looks dumb. Stop. Don't do that. Like, no. It's fine. It's fine. Because they're so self-conscious that they have to wear it. It looks weird. It doesn't look right with the outfit. You're taking two things and mashing them together, and it doesn't work right. There is a degree of form follows functions for heat, but not if you're going to get teased. Not that you really have to care about getting teased if you're strong enough personality, but it's just like George Ford or like anybody. If you're wearing it, you have to expect some level of razzing for, you need to wear tights underneath your pants, or you need to wear long johns, because it's not normal for Highland wear.
You might find you're more comfortable than you expect, honestly. I mean, I've had my knees get a little chapped some years, but of course, winters have not been that bad around here lately. But it's Mac was trying to get a word in edgewise.
Rocky said what I was going to bring up was about pulling the top of
up over your
kilt
knees
hose up
temporarily.
And we read accounts in World War I of guys going through thick brush and pulling them up and pulling them up over that, or in colder climates before they had to send their kilts back to supply and then got issued trues for the winter, of them pulling the kilt hose up and wearing them that way just because of warmth. So
yep. Or if the kilt gets wet, where it like saws at the back of the leg, you pull the kilt hose up so it's sawing at the back of the kilt hose, not your back of your leg.
Yep, especially with being freezing and everything like that. Yep, the guys were doing that all the time.
Yep,
so.
But I will say that underscores the fact that the whole bit about you're a real Scotsman, you're so tough that you don't feel the cold is kind of bullshit. Okay, you're in the trenches, you're soaked. You're fighting trench foot and everything. You're going to do what you got to do to stay warm. And physics is physics, okay? Blood flow is blood flow. Nutrition is nutrition. And, yeah, you may be more inured to the cold than other people, but that doesn't mean you're not going to try and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So, I think there's some serial kilters who don't even they don't own a single pair of pants. And they are the guys I know who are more likely to use a pair of leggings with a kilt if it's super cold and they have to be out for a long time, because there is no other option. They're not going to throw on a pair of jeans because they don't own a pair of jeans. So,
And we had a comment here that just came through a little bit ago that said, well, maybe this is a case for trues in that situation. If it is that cold,
and you just said it.
Maybe that's where you go.
You just said it. And in World War I, they'd be issued those for the winter. Yeah. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anyway.
All right.
You'll look better without them, but do what you gotta do.
Okay. Last one.
Goshte, as my dad
Last
would
one.
say. Okay. No, I don't like that one.
Sorry, whoever's question that was. He didn't like it. He's like, that guy?
Okay.
Write his name down. Now strike a line through it.
Tom DeCastle says he just ordered his first kilt, Marine Corps tartan and German heritage. I'm guessing you ordered them from us. Thank you so much. But he hasn't gotten any kilt hose yet. Besides black and possibly red, what other colors can I wear with both kilts that are there, or are there any other colors that would go with them?
Okay.
So he's wondering what kind of color hose he should invest in to go with Marine Corps and German heritage.
Okay.
The answer is all of them.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Just buy all of the kilt hose.
I'll take a few different tacks on this one. The kilt hose that will match both of those would be something neutral, like either a gray or a charcoal outside of black or red. I'm not a big fan of red kilt hose, especially like a bright red. Claret, okay, maybe.
Claret's cool.
So a neutral colored kilt hose would be fine. Option B is you can actually wear bottle green. If you have a green jacket or a green top or a green tweed, you can balance yourself top and bottom and have the kilt be something different in the middle. The kilt hose can either, my general rule of thumb is one of two things. Kilt hose should either tone with or, pull out one of the colors in the kilt, or pull out a color in the jacket or what you're wearing up top. So kind of balance yourself top and bottom, and then the kilt kind of stands out in the middle, or tone with something in the kilt. The other thing I would say, kilt hose aren't that expensive. So
Right.
it's I could see saying, what one tweed jacket, which is, a few $100s, would match both this and that. That would be a bigger concern to me than what kilt hose match both. You can get a pair of, a good pair of colored kilt hose for under $30. So I would not worry so much about buying one pair of hose to match both, so much as, okay, what is the best pair of hose for this one? What's the best pair of hose for this one? And kind of going from there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a really, really, really strict budget, just get a pair of charcoal, and then you can play around with the flashes to add different color options. Different colors of flashes or tartan flashes. Some people like them, but gray or something like that is fine, and the attention's going to go more to the kilt anyway. But yeah, unless you're really, really trying to keep the budget limited, buy yourself a couple of different pairs. They're not that bad. The trick is to make sure you take care of them. Because they're wool or heavy wool weighted blend, and so they can shrink badly in the wash if you're not careful. So nice cold water wash, and lay flat or hang to dry, and they'll last a good time. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Indulge yourself.
Play with it.
Yep.
Find your own style within it. Play with different colors.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls, question of the day. If you've been following us at all, and assuming you have because you're watching this, we're starting to do more interviews and talking to different people. So my question to you is, who do you want to see us interview? We've interviewed Piper Alley, we've interviewed Loch Cairn, we've interviewed House of Edgar, we've interviewed Sean of Sean Takes America. We have a few more coming up that are pretty neat and historical kind of things. So I want to know, who do you want to see us talk to? Let us know in the comments, and tag them in the comments below. So let us know who you want us to interview, who you think would be an interesting person to talk to. Until next time.
You have a thing down there
I have a thing
in your
down there.
box. You're not going to talk about that thing in the box?
No. That's a secret.
What's in the box?
There
Okay.
you go. All right.
As you were saying then.
Indeed. Until next time, boys and girls. Slanjava.
Sanjava.